Hey guys, I'm Amelia and I'm an occupational therapist here at Leaps Academy and Therapy Clinic. Today we are talking all about masks. If you haven't seen it already, Governor Kay Ivey has issued a statewide order requiring masks in all public places, which means your children will be required to wear masks for their 7 to 8 hour school day as they return to school this fall. Now there are a couple of exceptions if your child is under the age of 6 or if they may qualify as having either a mental or physical disability. Regardless of these exceptions, it's still a good idea to start working on, with your child, building up some tolerance as far as being able to wear a mask for long periods of time to protect them from COVID-19. So today I wanted to address all of your concerns and how occupational therapy can help increase your child's tolerance. The first thing that we're going to talk about when we are addressing things with our kids as far as why they have to wear a mask is explaining to them the importance of it and why they have to do it. So when I first started wearing a mask around the clinic, kids were always asking me, why? Why are you wearing a mask? Why do I have to wear a mask? Things like that. So it's really important to have just a short and to the point answer that you are ready to give them to explain why they have to wear a mask. I love to say, I'm wearing a mask to make sure that you don't get sick, and I'm wearing a mask to make sure that I don't get sick. Getting sick is a concept that is pretty simple that most kids would understand and actually be motivated to avoid and do whatever they need to. So that's why I like to just keep it short and simple, because if we really start trying to explain COVID-19 and why we're wearing a mask, we might turn into a pretty complex and convoluted answer with a lot more questions. So the next thing that we want to consider is what type of masks should your child be wearing. I have a couple different examples in front of me, but one of the things to really consider is functionally, what are they able to do and what are their fine motor skills look like? I have a mask that actually ties in 2 different places behind my head, and that's one that I often wear around the clinic. But this is something that I would not necessarily recommend for you to send your child to school in if they're not able to tie their shoes. Even if they are able to tie their shoes, this is probably not a great option for most kids under the age of 10 because they actually have to be able to tie it behind their head where they're not even able to see it. So if you think about the fact that if it were to fall off their face during the day, or if they ever were to need to adjust it, they probably would not be able to get it back on by themselves. So for most kids under around the age of 10, that's why I would actually recommend a mask that can simply go over the ear like this one. Now, once you've figured out kind of the function as far as what would work best for your kid, the next thing to consider is, what does your mask look like? These types of surgical masks are super common and something that we see very often in public. But for a lot of kids, they probably don't really like the look of these surgical masks, and it probably actually reminds them of going to the doctor or even being in the hospital, which might be coming up with some bad memories for them and kind of start triggering that they're expecting to get a shot or maybe have a medical procedure or something like that. So what I would really recommend for most kids is trying to find something with their favorite sports team or maybe their favorite characters on it, like Frozen or Puppy Dog Pals. And then another great option for you as well is just taking a simple black mask like this one, and they could actually have it be a craft project where you could use some paint pens and they could put whatever fun design on it that they want. They could write their name on it, or they could even write a mouth on it, and it could be like a mask when they are going around, so you can always see that they're smiling and they're happy. So those are a couple of fun ideas as far as making sure that they are able to continue wearing that mask and are motivated to wear it. Another thing to consider as far as, especially with your younger kids and motivating them, is a great option is making sure that they always have a good model to follow. And that can be anything from making sure that we as adults are doing what we need to do to set a good example. Maybe you have older siblings that the kids can follow, or even peer models in the school system. But especially if you have younger kids, a great option would actually be to put a mask on either their favorite doll or stuffed animal. And that way we can always use this as an example of saying, okay, when Mr. Tiger has his mask on, we need to put our mask on too. So a great example of this is, let's say maybe you go to the grocery store with your child and they're now required to wear a mask. So I would have them take the tiger with us and say, okay, Mr. Tiger has his mask on, so we need to have ours on. And then maybe once you have returned back to the car and feel safe to take that mask off, we could actually take the mask off of Mr. Tiger. And then that allows kids to know that it's then safe for them to take their mask off as well. So these are just a couple of ways to address wearing a mask with your child. But if you have any further concerns as far as regulation, sensory issues, maybe you feel like your child does not do very well with having something on their face, or you feel like it's really just a distraction from them being able to participate in their meaningful activities, then I would love to work personally with you and your child to address all of your concerns through occupational therapy. So we have our email address and Facebook page, which is Leaps Therapeutic Clinic, in the description box down below. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any more questions. Thank you guys. Bye.